Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sarasota Tim coming to you from the gym. I'm driving it's a windy day here. I need my microphone on. I know. I'm gonna get in the truck. Look at this baby. I'm driving the Super Crusher, and I haven't driven in a while. I've been thinking about, this is gonna be what I'm gonna be driving if I sell the Honda. And so I got a story to tell you. So let me get in the truck here. What a beautiful truck, huh? And I'll tell you the story of what happened today. All right, we're inside the truck here. Let me get my key out. Get the air conditioning going. It's very windy out there today. I think it's going to bring some rain in about 5 o'clock. And that'll go out in a minute. And it's getting really windy. I think it's blowing that front through, and we're going to have all that cold air I've been talking about. So guess what happened to me? This is so weird. I have, if you're new to my channel, this beautiful truck here, and I've got a nice little Honda Accord that I bought, a 24, and I decided to sell it because I only need one vehicle. And I have to have this one because I have a camper, and this is what pulls it. This is my tool, gotta have it. So I started thinking, I'll sell the Honda and travel and get rid of the insurance cost on it and, sell it. So I advertised it, and I haven't gotten any action on it yet, but it's only been a few days. And then I started remembering, hey, if somebody buys it, you better get your title because, set that down right there. I don't have my IOTI on this truck. You better get your title because you got to have that when you sell it private party. I think I made a video this morning talking about it about 4 in the morning. I was up making coffee. Anyway, if you trade them in Florida, you get an electronic title. I bought the car outright, and then I wanted to buy the car outright. When I got down there, they told me that they had only 1.9% interest, and that it would be really smarter to finance it 6 months, a year, the whole term, whatever. That's like free money. And keep your money, put it in a CD or do something with it instead of putting it into a car. And so I agreed, and I made a loan. I got a loan for 3 or 4 years, however long you could go for the 1.9. If you went out for as far as they could, you couldn't. But I think it was 3 or 4 years. They gave you the 1.9. I had no intentions of paying for it that long. I had decided that, all right, maybe I'll do 6 months, buy a CD, and then, pay it off. And then the money I make on the CD will pay the little bit of interest I paid for 6 months at 1.9, blah, blah, blah. So I took a loan. I got home and changed my mind. I changed my mind about a week later. I was talking to my good friend, Fred, and like many other senior citizens that buy cars, they got plenty of money. They've worked hard all their lives. They got money in the bank. They like to get a new car every 2-3 years, and they pay cash. They don't ever finance them, and they know they go down in value. They know all this, but they don't want a payment. So I was talking to Fred about it. I said, but Fred, look, it's almost free, 1.9%. I said, wouldn't you do it for that? And he actually told me that he wouldn't want to give him anything extra. And I started thinking about it as I go into my geezer years, because I'm 66 now, I started thinking about it. And I've always promoted, being debt-free and, no payments and things like that. And, I could have paid for it, and that's what I was going to do. But this whole deal, and so I agreed. And then after I talked to Fred and I came out of the ether, I bought it on August 30th. And within the first week of September, I called up Honda Finance Company. I said, what's the routing number? What's the account number? Where does the money go? What's the payoff? I don't want this loan. And they gave me the information, and I had my bank send them the money. I didn't even write them a check. I had it, expedited, wire transfer. And then I inquired, okay, well, how does the title go? And she did tell me. She said, well, since there is no title yet, because it's a brand new car, it has what they call an MSO. And I know all this because I was in the business for a long time. We have to get one, and then, I don't know, you requisition it, and then it will be mailed to you, or it will go as an electronic title, which is what a lot of states do, including Florida. You buy a car in Florida, if you finance it, you're not going to get a title, number one, because there's a lien. If you pay cash for it, then you still don't get your title. It goes to the DMV as an electronic title. You can then do it online and have them mail it to you for a fee, $10, or you can make an appointment and walk in and they print it right away, $10. And so I said, oh, darn, I got to get that title because I've got the car advertised. Somebody buys it tomorrow. I mean, I got to get the title. So I go in, and then I said, you know what? I just bought this, the Ford. I just got it, a month ago or something, maybe 2. And I said, I'll get the title to that one too. That one's got to be an electronic title. And sure enough, so I go in and I said, yeah, I'm here to get 2 titles. And so she looked them up and she said, all right, do you have your driver's license? And I gave her my driver's license. And she says, is this your current address? I said, well, I haven't changed it yet. That's my old address. She goes, well, you got to have your current address on your driver's license to have us print your titles. And I'm like, well, it's just about procrastinating and getting it done. Going to get your address change. It wasn't like the driver's license was going to expire. It was just that it had my old address. And I know you're supposed to do it, but a lot of people, they don't do it right away. And I didn't. And when she said, you got to have it done, I was like, oh, okay. And she says, you can do that right here. I said, oh, great. I don't have to make another appointment. So she sent me back to this other room where you go on a computer yourself. She says there's about 40 questions that you answer, and you put in all your address, your information, your voter's registration, organ donor, blah, 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 all that. So I go back there. I happen to have my readers with me. I had my C-Rights, and I filled it out. And she goes, and then when you get done, come back and scan at the kiosk this little QR code on a paper she gave me, and you sit down and call your name again, and one of us will take care of that for you, giving you your titles. So I'm like, all right, well, that's pretty cool. I mean, I actually want to do that anyway. I like everything to be up to date. So and they're going to take my picture, give me a whole new driver's license, with my address. And I like that idea. And I'm glad I'm also getting the title to the truck while I'm there. I only went there to get the title to the Honda. And I said, I'm really getting a lot done today. This is good. Driver's license, everything. So I come back and I said, are you going to take care of me? She was a very nice lady. And she says, well, I might, but someone will call you. I'm like, oh, okay. I wanted her again. She was really nice. And her name was Nicole, but Sarah was the next lady. And I told Sarah I was hoping for Nicole, but you'll do just fine because you're very nice too. And so I was pouring on pretty heavy, Anyway, they were very, very nice ladies, and they helped me out. And so I presented the information she saw on the computer that I did do my driver's license. And now what she's going to do is have me go over and get my picture taken. You stand on these 2 little feet things, and she can talk to you from her desk. There's a little speaker there. She tells you to look at the gray thing, and then they take a picture. And so I did. And I come back, and I sit down, and I'm like, all right, let's get these titles now. You cannot get your title unless your driver's license has your correct address. So if you bought a car and it went to the DMV, I guess that's how they get you too, to make sure your driver's license stays. And now in Florida, we have what they call the Gold Star. About 10 years ago, they changed on what documentation you have to provide to get a Florida driver's license. Let me tell you, folks, if you live here, you can vouch for me. That should be the only ID to travel anywhere in the world. There is so much documentation and proof of address and residency and citizenship and everything else that you have to have to get that I don't know why I would need a passport. And by the way, to get my driver's license changed today, to get the titles printed, I had to have 2 forms of proof of that address. And I'm like, oh man, if I'd have known this, I'd have brought something. I'm, wait a minute. Nothing, I don't have anything in paper. We all have everything online. So I'm like, well, I got my electric bill online. I've got my lease online. I've got my voter's registration card here. She goes, any of those will do. So I had everything I needed. I presented that. And that's when she told me to go fill out the thing, because she wanted to make sure I had that first. So when I come back and I deal with Miss Sarah, she sees on the computer that license is updated, and now we're just waiting for the new one, but she's going to get to the printing the titles for me. So she says, all right, which one's the 24 Ford F-250 and the 24 Honda? I said, yes, ma'am. She says, and this is when I was like, what? The Honda, are you still making payments on that? I said, no. I said, I started out with a loan. I said, but I paid it off a week later. She says, well, it's still indicating you have a lien on it. And that, you know, not that I'm making payments, but there's a lien. And I said, why wouldn't they have taken that off? You know, what can you do? Or, you know, that's through Honda Finance Company and all that. So she says, no, you got to, you know, call them, call the dealer, call somebody. I'm like, oh my gosh. So really, I paid it off a week after I bought it. I didn't even get the first payment. And somehow or another, the Honda company, you know, they haven't been sending me any bills or payments, and my bank account went down. And when I called them and I hit, after I got all done and left there with my title to this one and my driver's license and everything, when I tried to call them, I got these prompts, you know, so we recognize your phone number, your profile. Do you want to push 1 for this, 2 for that, or 3 for that? Every prompt I pushed said, you paid this off September 18th, which is when the loan lien was put on it. Even though I paid it off a week before that, I guess it took a time for the bank and to get the money to them and them to do it and whatever. So I'm like, how can I talk to somebody? I got to get this resolved. So I finally hit the prompt 3, the last one, and the first 2 kept saying, you don't notice anything. This loan was paid. So there's no other offers to talk to somebody or anything. I'm like, ah. So the last one I pressed, it says, or press 0 to speak to somebody. Man, I pressed that 0 so fast. And I got, oh, what was her name? I'm embarrassed. She was the nicest of all. And she said, well, let me look. She says, oh, yeah, I see. She says, well, we're going to have to get we're going to have to do a release of lien on that. I said, well, miss, I'm trying to sell it, and I just left the tag office to get the title printed. And how long is this going to take? Because, you know, somebody could buy it today. She said, well, hold on. And I held for about 5 minutes, and she came back, and she was really nice. She says, I really apologize. She says, this is not your fault, that we should have done this. It wasn't done. And I wasn't mad. I mean, I was disappointed because I was at the tag office to get it. But I've already made another appointment while I was on hold, because she'd already told me that we need to get a release of lien done. So while I'm on hold, I'm multitasking, and I go on the website of the tax collector's office, and I go ahead and make another appointment. Because when I was there today, all these people kept coming in, and the guy that greets you, he was saying, you got an appointment? You got an appointment? And all these people had this like deer in the headlights look, like, no. And do I need one? And why can't I get it now? And why can't everybody drop their pens and help me now? I don't know why people think they can just walk into these kinds of businesses these days and just, wait when there's people getting there's so many people with cars. So anyway, I'm sitting there, and so I knew to make an appointment when I had Honda. They had me on hold. Like I said, I waited a few minutes. So I went right on that website to make another appointment because I'd already made one for today. And the nearest appointment is Friday in the afternoon, just after lunch. And so I made the appointment, and the lady came back on the phone apologizing that they didn't do it. It wasn't my fault. And I said, well, how long is it going to take? And she says, 2 or 3 days. And, at this point, I'm thinking, like, you can't push a button right now? But I didn't say that. And she says, but probably Wednesday it'll be ready. I said, well, that's all right. I said, I'll go on Friday. I've already made an appointment while I was waiting for you to come back to get it printed. And she said, when she talked about the 2 or 3 days, she said, Wednesday it'll be done. I was like, well, I had to make an appointment. I can't go until Friday, so I'll be good, right? She goes, you'll be good. And so anyway, what about that? Honda, after I bought it October, I don't know why I keep saying October, August 30th, paid it off a week later, first week in September. It was recorded on the 18th of September. It's October, November, December, 3 months and 3 quarters, 3.5 months that they didn't do it. Like, you would have thought it would have came around full circle. Like, look, we got all this money, this account's paid, but they're still showing our lien on there. But nobody ever checks. It's like it just could have sat there. If I never wanted to sell the car, it would have been sitting there forever, a lien. But there was, in fact, no lien. There was for a week, but there wasn't. So I got that all taken care of, and now if somebody wants to buy it today, then I don't have to worry about it, because Friday, they can just give me the money Friday or whatever they want to do. So I'm driving around now in the Super Crusher, which will be my main and only vehicle when I sell the Honda. Now, you're going to think I'm crazy about what I'm about to say, but this truck is an albatross. This is not as nimble, as small, as easy, as, well, we already know economically, but it's just, it lacks all the appointments, the luxury, and the sound system. And I mean, it's not bad. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate it, but at all. I would never get rid of it because I have to keep it for my camper. But it's like, really? Now I know why, you didn't want to drive the Tundra. It was also an albatross. But this one's even bigger. And parking spots, you can't see the ground out there. You can't see the back. When you turn, the mirrors are sticking out wide on both sides. You go down these Tamiami Trail here, and trucks go by you, or big trucks, and it's a narrow road, and you got to watch your in between. With the Honda, you just slide on through everybody. And I was thinking, well, I'm going to lose money, obviously, to sell the Honda so quickly after buying it brand new, even though I got a smoking deal on it. It's, you got to sell it for less than you could buy a new one for, or nobody's going to buy it. But it'll bring, as much as these dealers are trying to sell theirs for, these other 24s that are out there. And let me tell you something I found out. Though I might have talked about it in this morning's video, but I was half awake at 4 o'clock in the morning. The dealers on Auto Trader, which is mostly dealers that advertise on there, if you read the description of the vehicle, of what it's got on it, every one of those dealer ads say the same thing. That price they got you, to click on it isn't the price. Not even close. I'm talking $2,000 less than what the real price is going to be when you go in. Because we look at every dealer ad and you read the fine print, and then there's some finer print below that says price excludes sales tax and license plates. Duh. Also, $999,000 dealer fee. And then right after that, they have to describe what the dealer fee is. So they come right out and say, dealer profit, dealer preparing the car, and doing the paperwork. Now they're paying those people to work there already. It's all ADP, additional dealer profit. It's the backdoor way they sell. Okay, here it is, 35 grand. It's really going to be 36 grand. And then you know what? You know when you buy the car, like when I bought the Honda and this, they had wheel locks, they got window tint, they got paint sealant, they got floor mats, they got pinstripes, they got rust proofing, they got all these things that they pay this much for, but they put a price on the window of $6.99, $4.99, $7.99, $8.99 for each one of those, building the additional dealer profit, another $1,500. Plus that dealer document fee, they really try to make, well, we have to charge that. Everybody charges that. Baloney. It ain't nothing but additional profit. So when you look at the prices on Auto Trader, and I'm going to explain this to anybody that looks at mine, there is no other fees except when they go register it, and pay their tag and their tax. But the dealer is going to hit you for the $9.99, and then if it's a new one, and there's lots of new ones still for sale, 24s, they're going to say, well, we added floor mats, we got window tinting, we did the paint sealing, we did pinstripe, we did this and that, and those are going to cost you another $1,500. Now you're $2,500 over. And the new ones, I think, are being advertised, the Accord, for $37,888. And that's a pretty good price, because the sticker on it is $40,440. The sticker price, the factory sticker price. But then when you go in there, they got all that stuff I just talked to you about. The dealer fee, the window tinting, blah, blah, blah. And so it ends up being like $43,000. So the bottom line is, mine is a very good deal because it's the only one I've found, even doing a nationwide search, that has under 3,000 miles in the twos that's used, and in a touring edition, and in white with the gray leather, which is like the #1 color combo. So it's unique in the fact that it will sell. Look, they're selling theirs, and even with their gotcha add-ons, they're going to sell those cars. That's the business they're in. I'm going to sell mine. But here's the point. I've got an itch down here. I don't know if I want to now, for two reasons. This driving around as an everyday driver, I mean, I will if I have to. I probably will, but I don't want to. I like this smaller, nimbler car for buzzing around town. Who wants to drive a semi to go down to Publix or Walmart? I mean, plenty of people out here driving big trucks, jacked up, but I don't necessarily like it. And the Honda's a much nicer car. And the #2 reason is because I will lose from the smoking deal I got. And all those fees I talked about, I got a lot of those waived because I was in the business and I dealt with the manager, and I wasn't going to buy it unless I could get those dismissed anyway, or I wasn't going to buy it. Simple as that. And they knew I was in the business, and I've never had a problem buying a car and getting the best deal on it. But there is no great deal when you buy a new one unless you keep it for a while, because you're going to lose your butt to a degree if you sell it right away, like I'm trying to do. And so I don't want to lose. I don't want to just exchange 100 for a 50, a 20 for a 10. Now, how much would I lose? Well, a car is worth what somebody will pay you for it. This guy might pay this guy might not pay that, this guy might pay more, so it's just, luck of the draw. But I know what I'm going to not sell it for, and that's a number that, because I don't have payments or anything. It's not like that, and I don't need the money. I mean, I wouldn't have bought it if I needed the money, but I don't need the car is what it is. But I don't want to necessarily drive this. So I'm thinking only because I would lose some money is the extra straw that's breaking the camel's back. about not selling it, because if I wasn't going to lose any money or that much, or it wasn't a big deal, I would sell it, even though I don't really want to drive this as a one thing. But if I start traveling like I want to, I don't want to leave the Honda just laying around. And that was the reason of selling it. And I've made it clear that when I bought it when I owned the Tundra. And I didn't necessarily, it was a 21, it wasn't new, wasn't anything I was excited about anymore. I crashed it once, and somebody crashed into me once, and I just didn't care if it went bye-bye. And it pulled my camper, but barely. I had reservations about getting in any kind of Rocky Mountains with it. So that was one motivation to buy the Honda, plus to save some gas. And the main reason was my life was different, my circumstances were different, and I was thinking that it could be something that would make the circumstances better and move forward with that for a future, you know. And that didn't go. And so when that changed, it's like I'm going to start traveling, and this sitting idle has changed. Things change, you know, stuff happens. So you have to go with the flow. You have to be adaptable. And so while I would even just leave it here, I'm not going to take a big loss. And I do like driving it. And after driving this, it's kind of a wake-up call, like, oh, now I know why you bought it when you had the Tundra. So the jury is out, but the ad is running, the ad is paid for, and the ad will run until it sells. That's one good thing about the ad. When you buy it, it can run until it sells. So I'll just let it go. And if somebody doesn't step up to the pump and pay the piper, well, they don't get it. And if I really don't want to sell it, then I'm not going to take very much less. I might even raise it. But we'll see. I haven't decided yet. But isn't that something? I go down there to get it, and I said, well, you know, I'll get the one for the truck. I forgot, you know, I don't have it either. I'll get that one. That's cool. I'll kill two birds with one stone. Then I got down there and found out we ain't doing it at all unless you get your driver's license updated. I'm like, well, I like that too. Let's get that done. So I got all this done. And then when I go to sit down, she goes, well, you making payments on that Honda? I said, no. Why? Well, there's a lien. And then I told you the rest of the story. So Friday, I will go down and get it printed. It's a done deal. And all this time, let's say I never wanted to sell it, and a year or two went by. They're not asking for any money from me. I'm not worried about that, you know, because they know it's paid, Honda. But here's something that somebody told me that was very alarming. Let's say I got into an accident and there's a lien on it. What do you think the insurance company is going to want to do first? If it gets totaled or, you know, whatever, they give that money to the person that owns it. And according to the documentation, Honda owned it with the lien. So that would have been like, you know, opening up another whole can of worms. So, yeah, I wanted to rectify that quickly. And all this time it's been going on, you know. But it all came together, and it's all good. I'm happy now. And I got all the other titles to my junks. So now I'm ready to crush it.